Hi friends! So it's been a minute since I've been on here, but look, my room is finally done. So hi, if you don't know me, my name is Heatherina, and yeah, I come on here and talk about true crime and missing people and different things to kind of pick your old brain and, I don't know, entertain you for a minute. If you haven't been here before, well, thank you for showing up. Happy to see you. Anyways, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow along. I do the fake air guns and talk about things that are very uncomfortable. I want to start off by saying please be nice to everybody in the comments, be nice to me, be nice to everybody in your real life. Please know that some of these cases that I talk about are very sensitive. There is victims who no longer have their life or are still missing, and there is families out there, guys, that is missing somebody that they love. So please be kind to everybody all the time. Let's get on with the story. So today we're going to discuss a young man, and his name is Tyler Andrew Stice. He is a 20-year-old man who is missing. He was born February 8th, 1996, and I got this on my head. Look at that. He was born February 8th, 1996. He lived in Kingman, Arizona, and he actually was from Casper, Wyoming. Now, this is the interesting part of the story. So, let me tell you a little feedback here. I was in my kitchen and I was making soap, because I make soap and chocolate and stuff. So I was making soap, and I like to put on some true crime videos when I do that, and, you know, just kind of listening to what's going on, you know, in the true crime world. And so I was listening to this story about Tyler, and I heard Casper, Wyoming, and I was like, I'm from Wyoming, and he is a missing persons, and I would really like to get any information I can out there to help the family if I possibly can in any way. So I was like, hey, this is a good story to listen to. Maybe I should do this case. So I am listening to this case in my office. You know, I got done soap making, and I had pressed pause, and I was walking back to my office to begin to work on some stuff for my business. And where I had paused on this certain video, I was kind of blown away. So the picture that I had paused on happened to be on a picture of one of my ex-best friends. I'm not even kidding, guys. Like, I screamed through the house. I was like, Nevaeh! Nevaeh is my 15-year-old daughter, and she knew this person as well. So I was like, dude, you gotta come and see this. Like, I need you to see this. She comes back to my office, and I'm like, either this is that person, or they're a doppelganger. Now, my ex-best friend was a female, and you'll kind of find out as I tell this story why I was very interested, and why I feel like this story needs to get out there, because he's still missing, guys. He is still missing, and they're reopening this case, and they're going to start investigating things deeper. And I'm like, awareness needs to be out there. Not only that, people need to not forget Tyler. You know, Tyler was a very awesome person. You know, he loved photography. He was very artsy. He loved to draw. He loved to paint. He was just a great person. From what all of his family and friends say, he was a great person. He was a hard worker. You know, he knew that he had to work to pay for, he had a black Mustang, and he really loved this black Mustang, and he knew he had to work to pay that. He had to pay his mom rent. He had to pay his cell phone bill. He was just a very responsible individual. When he went missing, he was 20 years old. His friends and family said that he was an avid gamer. He very much made all of his friends, for the most part, online. He lived with his parents, Robert, Brian, Stice, and also his mother, Stephanie. And he just really liked the online gaming world. That was like his place where he felt comfortable. He was very much an introvert, so that probably had a lot to do with, you know, meeting friends online and not being able to feel like he fit into the to like the real world. Tyler worked at a furnishing company. He had only been working there for about a month when he became missing, but they did say that he was a very good worker. And when he was in school, he was a very good student in school as well. He always did the best that he possibly could, and he knew that he wanted to go to college, and he wanted to be he wanted to do like the drones for the police department. You guys see my dog walk by? She's like, hey, I want to go outside. To let the old pup outside, she was just like, yeah, it's time to go outside, even though she probably just came in from outside. But so back to Tyler, he was a very good worker, and so when he decided to not go into work, like he skipped work on June 20th, 2016, Tyler's mom was really curious about this. She was just like, why are you skipping work? Like, this is not like you. And Tyler said back to her, you know, I just need a me day. So he took some of the day and spent it by himself. And then the rest of the day he spent with his dad. He just hung out with his dad. And then, you know, went to bed without hitch, like no problem. Well, the next day, Tyler got up about 5:30 in the morning. He got himself ready for work. He packed a lunch like he was going to work, and he left. Later that afternoon, Tyler's mom found that something was very strange, as Tyler didn't show up to work, as his boss was calling to see like where he was and why he hasn't been showing up to work. And Tyler's mom was very confused, because she was like, no, he like packed a lunch and he left, but he never showed up. And so his mom called the police to turn it in, because she was like, this isn't like him. Like, he goes to work, and when he didn't go to work, you know, he told her, he's like, I need a personal day for myself. I just, you know, kind of just want to chill out and take time for myself. So his mom called the cops, and they were like, we can't do a missing thing yet because it's too early. We need to wait. Which, you know, I never really understand that, because I know, you know, like when you're an adult and stuff, like you're allowed to come and go as you please. I get that. But if somebody suspects that something, like your behavior isn't normal, like this isn't normal for you, you know, you should be able to tell the cops that, and they should be like, oh, okay, let's start this investigation. But that isn't how it went. So Tyler's mom began calling people, you know, like, hey, have you seen Tyler? And nobody had seen him. Of course, they were calling his phone, and it was going right to voicemail. And that was something that just didn't happen either. But nonetheless, his mom started calling, you know, his sisters, like, hey, have you seen him? Have, you know, anything? They were like, no. They continued to try to messenger him on Facebook, and he wasn't answering. The cops had told, you know, his mom that they would have to wait 48 hours before they could do a missing persons case. 4 days after Tyler had been missing, they found his Mustang up there in Deer Canyon Recreation Area, which this place is just like a trails and hiking type of place. There isn't a lot of traffic on this road. So they, you know, they're like, why was he up there? You know, he didn't like to hike. He didn't like the outdoors. You know, why is he going up there? So of course, everybody goes up there, tries to find him, with no luck. Tyler is not there. But in his car, there were some interesting finds. For instance, he had taken his laptop, his cell phone, his wallet, you know, he was avid about taking, you know, photography and stuff. He was really into photography. So when they found his car, his laptop was missing, but the laptop bag was there. His phone was missing, his wallet was missing, his keys were missing, but in the trunk was his camera. And that was interesting to everybody, because they're like, if he was to go out into the wilderness, the only reason he'd be out there is to take pictures. Like, he wouldn't be out there to hike the trails or anything, because he didn't like to do that. It wasn't his thing. He wasn't into hunting. He wasn't into hiking, none of that stuff. But his camera was in there. And his sister noticed that the last pictures that Tyler had taken was of him and his sisters on a four-wheeling trip, and those pictures were gone. They were erased, not on there anymore. So they found that to be very interesting as well. In the car, on the passenger side door, there was a cup of chai tea. And the family thought that was really weird because Tyler did not like chai tea. Like, it wasn't his thing. But the DNA test came back that only Tyler's DNA was on it. They also found a cat sticker that was crumbled up in the car. And so they brought the police dogs out to do a search, and the police dogs tracked his trail down one of the trails where his car was parked. They tracked it down into the main road where it disappeared. And nobody was sure like why he would walk down the trail and all the way back up, loop back up onto the road. But the cops believed in their mind that Tyler met somebody, got in the car, and he left. And in fact, they were saying that he probably met up with a rich gay man and took off, because he had had a talk with one of his sisters and had stated that he just kind of wanted to just disappear, like he just wanted to run away. Actually, his sister said she wanted to disappear, or wouldn't it be nice to disappear? And Tyler agreed. He was like, yeah, I would like to just, you know, disappear as well. So the cops were just like, well, maybe that's what he did. He just like got out of his car, walked down, got up on the main road, met somebody, got in their car, left, and he just wants to be left alone. Something that was very interesting about the car was the outside of the car and the inside of the car were very clean. For it sitting out there that many days, it was very clean. There was nothing on the inside or outside of the car. I mean, it just wasn't dirty. For going down a dirt road, I know here in Wyoming, when we go down, you know, a dirt road, it just like flings up the dust that just sticks to your car. And if you happen to get out and then back into the car, you know, you drag some of that dust into the car with you. But nonetheless, the car was clean inside and out. Now, this chai tea that was in there that he would never drink, it was on the passenger side, but it had his DNA on it. So they're like, well, then who was driving the car? If the cup was on the passenger side and he didn't like to drink it, but his DNA was on it, then who was driving the car? That was very confusing. They also found like some chocolate milk, and they found chocolate donuts, you know, just some other things in the car. But they found like the chai tea was something Tyler was very adamant about. Like, I don't like chai tea. You know, I don't like chai tea either. But he was very adamant about that. And one of his sisters had stated, I had read that she said he wasn't really that big of a tea drinker to begin with. So drinking chai tea is something that he didn't like. Like, if you don't drink tea very often, then you wouldn't go for something that you really didn't like. Now, this case kind of took a little bit of a turn because the police ended up finding surveillance of a Walmart of Tyler buying a .22 caliber rifle. And then he left there and he went to another destination and bought the bullets. And everybody was like, he doesn't like to hunt. And he does not like guns. Like, why would he go and buy a gun, especially a .22 caliber? Like, why would he do this if he didn't like to hike and he didn't like to be out there hunting and all of this stuff? They just couldn't understand like why he would have this gun. Now, one of his sisters said that she thinks maybe he bought it for somebody else. But who is this somebody else that he would buy a .22 caliber for, and the bullets? And this gun was no longer in the car, and it wasn't at the house either. Okay, so let's go through the timeline a little bit. So, oh, my neck hurts so bad. Sorry. So let's go through the timeline a little bit. So on Sunday, June 19th, Tyler buys the gun and the ammunition. Okay. Now, it doesn't really matter. Some say it happened on the 18th. Some say that it was the 19th. But honestly, I don't think it really matters what the day was. Monday, June 20th, he doesn't go to work, which is very out of character. He just is like, I just need a me day for myself. And that was very out of character for him. On the 24th at 6 a.m., Tyler left for work. And he has never been seen since. Now, that's interesting in itself. But then I'm watching, I got hair just going everywhere. I started watching another person's YouTube. Now let me see, what were they called? I know I wrote it down somewhere. Explore With Us. I watched their rendition of this case. Actually, they were the ones that I watched when I was like, oh God, Casper, like I really want to help out with this. This is hometown business, you know. Well, I don't live in Casper. I have lived in Casper, but it's only about two and a half hours away. And I was like, somebody's missing that's from around here. I mean, granted, he wasn't missing from here, but it's interesting to me. I would like to help at least bring light to it so that more eyes get back on this case. And I found it very interesting because they really dug deep. So some of the things that are interesting about this case, and that's kind of what I want to talk about now. So you know about the disappearance, but there are some other things that are very interesting. So the cops were investigating this, and of course they were like, he's just, you know, he took off. He just didn't want to, you know, be around no more. We think he got, you know, with a gay man, a rich gay man, and he left. You know, which I don't really know what signified that they thought he was gay or not. It didn't say in the stuff that I had read, so I don't want to assume that I know. It just said that the cops thought that he got in with a gay rich man and he left. Somebody he probably met online, and he took off, and he doesn't want to be found, and because he's an adult, he's able to do that. But his sister didn't give up. So the family tried to hire a private detective, you know, because they really wanted more eyes, more people on this case, because they really didn't feel like the police department was doing their diligence on this case. Like, they were like, open and shut, open and shut. Like, this is what happened. It's done. He ran off. We're done with this case. But his sister was like, no, I don't feel like that's what happened. There's more to this story. So she hires a private investigator. Well, then the police department tells her that if she's going to have a private detective working on the case, then they're no longer going to work on the case anymore, and they're just going to close the case. Well, she freaks out, and she's like, no, no, no. We will not hire the private detective. You guys go ahead with your investigation. Well, nay, nay, that's not how it all went, because when, you know, it wasn't, I think they said in the report, it was like a month later, they just closed the case pretty much, like cold cased it, you know, like, oh, we don't know any more information, this is done. We did as good as we could do. We got a dog out here, and, you know, he followed it down the trail to the main road and gone, so he must have got in with somebody. Shut and close. And they had already dismissed the private detective, and this fly is like right here. He's like, I want to hear this story. Give me the tea. This is not tea, buddy. This is real life. But I just don't understand, like, not putting your best effort in. Like, I know, like, when you don't have any leads, you don't have any leads. Now, this group that I watched on YouTube decided, oh, he's attacking me. They decided that they were going to dig deeper. Now, that's the part that kind of ticks me off a little bit. Not that they decided to dig deeper, because no, you should always dig very deep, but the fact, oh, drop my stuff. But the fact that they didn't dig deep enough, that other people, this what were they, Explore With Us, got involved, and they dug out more information than what the cops did. And I was like, are you kidding me? How is this possible? Like, if you did your diligence on this case and you investigated every avenue, then you would have known the stuff that these people found out. Now, that's the part that's going to be interesting, because this opens up a whole new outlook on the case. So Jessica is the sister to Tyler. Now, she says she is a half sister, so they have the same moms, different dads. Well, she started talking to these people on YouTube. She started, like, divulging some information that got really sketchy really fast. So she claimed that her stepdad, who was Brian, if you remember, which is Tyler's dad, she claimed that he molested her and got convicted for 16 years. Okay, that was a turn of things that didn't really come forward. And then she also claimed that he molested her friend years earlier, and she came over to sleep like at a slumber party, and he molested her, and he got 2 years in prison for that. And so when these people were asking, well, why isn't this in like any of the discovery or any of the stuff? Because surely, like, that's very suspicious. Like, that's suspicious, you know? Like, why isn't it? And Jessica had said because her mom and her stepdad had passed a polygraph test. And I thought, okay, fair enough, fair enough. You know, they didn't dig more into things because they passed a polygraph test, even though everybody knows that they just aren't 100% accurate. But fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. I get that. Okay. So then Jessica starts talking about how her mom, every time somebody would try to contact her and talk to her about her brother, her mom would sit there like right next to her, like, what are they saying? Let me hear. Like, sit there all nosy, like listening to the conversation. And she would tell Jessica, like, you don't need to be talking about that, or you don't need to be saying that. Even though the people who were interviewing her, oh, my light just shut off. That's so weird. Even though the people who were interviewing her were just asking questions that had already pretty much been asked. Like, they had already talked about it. So it was like, it was stuff that wasn't even that big of a deal. And so she just didn't understand, like, why can I not talk about this? But nonetheless, like, her mom just kept trying to be like, well, this isn't good for your mental health. This isn't good for you. Well, Jessica tells these YouTube people that her mom then insists that she gets on the seizure medication that she hadn't taken for a really long time. And this medication was making her like groggy and sleepy and forgetful and having memory problems and all of this stuff. And she feels like, because her mom's a nurse, that her mom knew exactly what she should be taking. Now, I'm on both sides of the fence here. Like, I'm not one of those people that you can't just get your own prescriptions, and you cannot just diagnose yourself, and you're not supposed to diagnose family members, etc. So if another doctor prescribed this medication, then he must have thought that this medication would be good for her. But that would also depend on what they said to this doctor, you know, like what was said. Did they say like she was having seizures? But nonetheless, she claimed that she was just sick, like she was having problems. Now, one of the interesting facts that had ended up coming out was Jessica had said that she had workers come over and to take care of some like yard work and stuff, and they forgot to lock the back gate. And in doing so and forgetting to lock this back gate, her baby went out the gate and fell into the pool and drowned. So she was having like a really hard time, which as a mom, I would be having a terrible time as well. But she was having a hard time with that. But she was talking to them about, you know, that was hard for her. Now her brother missing. So she was just like, my stepdad molested me. My baby died. Now my brother's missing. She was going through a lot of things. But her mom pretty much was like saying to her, like, if you don't be quiet, we're going to have you committed, you know, into a hospital. And I'm over here just like, wait, what? Why? Like, why can't she talk about her brother in this circumstance? Like, what's going on? Well, Jessica then divulges to these people that her parents, well, her mom and her stepdad, moved all of Tyler's stuff out of his room, repainted the room. That was weird. They sold his first car, which was a Volvo. They sold that. And that her stepdad, which is Tyler's dad, was now driving the Mustang. And she was like, you know, my baby died and I can't even clean his room out. And this was before my brother went missing. It's like they don't even think that he's coming back. So that was a very strange part of this video that I was just like, wait, what? Why would you change his room? Like, this fly, like, why is he bothering me now? He's trying to get me. Anyways, like, why would you do this? Why would you get rid of your son's things? Regardless if you pack it up and you put it away somewhere. Usually, I'm telling you guys, this fly is dive bombing me. He landed like right there. But why would you get rid of things? Like, usually people, that's the one thing people usually have the hardest time doing, is getting rid of their loved ones' things. But not these guys. It was like gone and out, and that was it. Not only that, Jessica said, look, my mom's a nurse, and she works with the chief of police's wife, who's also a nurse, you know, and she doesn't want people to know that Brian is a convicted pedophile, and that I stayed with him even after he molested my daughter. I still stayed with him. We don't, you know, she was like, my mom doesn't want people to know this. And she was like, and absolutely everybody should know that. Like, it's suspicious that his son goes up missing. You know, if he could do stuff to me, why couldn't he do stuff to his own son? Now, Jessica, she was like, I think that Brian had Tyler by the gun and the ammunition, but I don't know why she thought that. You know, I don't know what led her to believe that, other than the fact that his dad was a felon. So he couldn't have bought the gun and the ammunition himself. But what would he have needed the gun for? That part, I don't really know. It would make sense, but then it wouldn't make sense why Tyler was missing. You know, what? So, you know, Jessica says that like a month before Tyler went missing, she had told Tyler that his dad had molested her and he got convicted. And so her theory is that Tyler confronted his dad got angry, and maybe his dad and maybe his mom wanted to off him. So that was kind of like her theory. She just, I don't know, there's not a whole lot of basis for it other than theory. It's not solid. On October 9th, 2018, Jessica ended up committing suicide and ending her life. Sadly enough, I think just like with being molested and her child dying and her brother missing, everything was just too much for her, and she ended her life. So she was a huge advocate, can't talk today, for Tyler. She ran the Find Tyler page. You know, she was doing a lot of things to find Tyler. Now, this is where things start turning kind of crazy. Remember the beginning of the video, I told you that I was just making soap and I was just minding my own business, and I decided to listen to the story because it happened in Casper, Wyoming. I live in Wyoming. I was like, this is very interesting. So I was like, ooh. But then I seen a picture of my ex-best friend on my phone, and it blew me away. So I will be putting in the image that I had seen, obviously, because I was just like, oh God. So after I had freaked out a little bit and contacted or screamed for my daughter, and I was like, I've seen these pictures before. I went to her page and I looked, and they were the same pictures, and I was like, that's really interesting, because one of the pictures was around the time that I had hung around her. So, you know, it is such a touchy subject, because when you're not friends with somebody anymore, you can't really contact them and be like, hey, you're on a missing persons investigation and can I ask you some questions, because yeah, that's not going to happen. But we're going to talk about it. Now, Explore With Us decided that they were going to dive into this case just a little bit deeper. Now, I am going to look at some of my notes as I go along, because I want to make sure that I quote them right, because I don't want to make them mad. They have been doing their own investigation. Kudos to them. Go check their page out. I think they're amazing. I wanted to get more light on this missing person, Tyler. This is what this is about, is Tyler. And I feel like with things coming to light, with them opening things back up to investigate, I felt like I needed to put a video out there and bring this in front of everybody once again. All right, so his sister Stephanie starts sending messages to, she continues to send messages to Tyler's Facebook account. And one day she noticed that somebody checked the message. Ooh, strange. So she's like, well, the cops have his home computer. Remember Tyler took his laptop, but the cops had his home computer, and she's like, let me see. So she calls the cops and she was like, hey, I know y'all have his computer. Did you all like check into his accounts and stuff? Like, are you checking his accounts? Like, are you looking at things? And they were like, she was like, this happened in the middle of the night. And they were like, no, like, we weren't on there in the middle of the night. Sorry, I'm looking for a brush, and of course it's not where I wanted it to be. So she was like, that's really weird. She goes back later on, and now the messages say that her message was delivered but wasn't checked. Okay, that's weird. So again, Explore With Us is talking to Stephanie, and they are collecting information, and they're just like me, like, what's going on here? Like, I don't really know. Let's dig a little further. This is the part that I told you that I was very, very shocked about, because why didn't the police department like check this stuff out? But nonetheless, we will give them a free pass. So one among us first discovered that his DeviantArt account had been logged into since his disappearance, and they were like, with finding that, they found an INVU account. Hold on, my contacts being very squirrely. Which is a gaming forum, and it's where people can go on there and they kind of pretend play. They do like, I don't even know the word I'm looking for. I don't even know. But they find the forum, they find the accounts. It was, what was it? Kira Tora was the account. And it was last logged into on 6/21/2016, on the exact day of the disappearance. So they were like, that's interesting. Well, they couldn't read anything on this page because it was kind of like locked down, shut down. So they decided that they would contact some of the, they would contact some of the other members, and they would ask them questions. And some of the members were like, the last time that Kira was on, because that was the name they called Tyler, was, I lost my train of thought. The last time that Kira was on, he said that he was drinking tea. Well, remember the tea in the door. So the day he goes missing, he talks to his friends on this forum and says that he's drinking tea. Okay, well, they look into his photos, and in the photos they see this picture of a girl. Who is this girl, you ask? Well, nobody knows who this girl is. These Explore With Us asked the sisters. They were like, no, he never talked about anything. But they asked his friends, and his friends said he always talked about a girlfriend. He would, show us pictures of this girlfriend, and, so they brought the pictures up that they had seen on this page, and they were like, yeah, those are the pictures that he showed us and said that was his girlfriend. Okay, so now we have a mystery girlfriend who his family didn't know about, but his friends did. Okay, that's interesting. So they decide that they want to find this mystery girl, find out who she is, ask her questions, because maybe this could lead them further down the line. So they take the picture and they do a reverse check on the picture, and they find a Facebook page of this girl. So they sit down and they write a message to her, and they're like, hey, just want to ask you some questions. Well, then they soon figured out, they're like, maybe this is going to be stuck in like her other folder, because you know how you all have an other folder on Facebook. They're like, maybe this will get stuck in the other folder and she will never see it. So they go on her page and they find where she has a public post, and they write on there and like, hey, can you check your messages? I sent you a message and I would like to talk to you. She writes back, you know, and she's just like, about what? You know, like, who are you? Sort of thing. And so they go to explain who, you know, that they just want to talk to her and ask her some questions and stuff, and she blocks them. Why? Why did you do that? Why would you block somebody? Like, somebody comes to me and they're just like, hey, so I really want to ask you some questions because somebody is missing and you may have some information that can help. Do you mind answering some questions? Click. Like, who does that? Like, who goes and blocks somebody? Like, that's odd. That's suspicious. So that was very suspicious. Anyways, they're just like, okay. They noticed that she doesn't go and check the message. They felt like that was very suspicious. Well, on the Finding Tyler page that his sister ran, they seen that she was on there, that she was part of the page. So they knew that she knew Tyler. And in some of the pictures that were on her page, there was graduation pictures of her with Tyler. They also noticed that Tyler interacted on some of her posts. So they're like, okay, this girl knows Tyler. But did Tyler steal her pictures and was catfishing other people? Or did he actually know this person? Well, he obviously knew her in real life, but was Tyler catfishing, or was it this girl's profile? That's what they wanted to know. Like, simple, hello, just answer the question. But nonetheless, they noticed that she was on the Finding Tyler's page writing. So they again wrote something. They're like, maybe if we explain like what our motive is, like what we're trying to do, maybe she'll talk to us then. Nope, didn't happen. She literally was active on Facebook, but she went ghost. She went ghost to them. She was active, but she would not respond to them in any sense. And nobody could understand why. Like, all everybody wants to do is find Tyler, and they just want to find information that is going to help find Tyler. Like, why would you not want to do the same? Like, you would want to do the same. You would want your brother found. You would want your loved one found. Why are you not answering these questions? So they start digging around, like really digging, and they find on her page, because they were remember, they were talking to Tyler's friends on this forum, and the friends were saying things like, Kira's always saying, you know, that she's sick all the time, has lupus, you know, is always going to the hospital, drinks tea, blah blah blah. Well, when they go on to this girl's page, she got numerous posts about having lupus, being sick, in and out of the hospital, not feeling good, drinking tea. They also noticed that she has a roommate named Louise. That was something that they had pulled up. Now, this is where they kind of got stuck. And this is the part where I come in, because I know this person in real life. She was my best friend for not a very long time, but she was my best friend nonetheless. And so during that time that Tyler was missing, she was dating a gentleman who she ended up marrying. So she did have somebody, and he happens to be my friend still. So I went and talked to him, and I was like, hey, did you know that this was, you know, going on? Did you know that she knew this person? Just, you know, asking just some simple questions, you know. And he was like, I know she had posts all over her Facebook about finding Tyler. But the only thing she said to me around that time was that somebody named Brian was stalking her. He said around 2016. And I thought that was kind of interesting because, and these eyebrows are pissing me off, because Tyler's dad's name was Brian, and he was a pedophile. So I'm like, does he have something to do with this? That I don't. So with their investigation and all of their digging, they come to the conclusion that that was Tyler that was using that page, you know, on the INBU page. He was the one that was using that. Like, why he had his girlfriend, I'm saying in quotations because there is no definitive on that, if, you know, that was his girlfriend, or if he stole her pictures and catfished her, because she blocked them. Like, she blocked them. She didn't answer them back. She just like went ghost. And I'm over here like, why would you do that? Why would you go ghost? Like, you're on Finding Tyler. You're obviously trying to find him, and why isn't this, why wouldn't you be discussing this with anybody? Like, why wouldn't you just be like, oh my god, no, like, we weren't dating, or whatever? Like, that part's really weird. So this page, this Explore With Us, they are good little investigators. So the cops, of course, like I told you, they hadn't dug this up yet. They hadn't dug that part up. And they went a step further and they started doing name variations of this Kira Zotora. They started doing more name variations, and what did they find? They found an account on Twitter that Tyler was running as well, and on it, you know, he talked about being the manager at Wendy's in Casper, Wyoming. Then they looked it up on Facebook and they found a picture of a pretty little blonde, same information, manager at Wendy's in Casper, Wyoming. So who is this mystery girl? Well, I know who she is. And I have spoke with her husband. Like I said, I am still friends with her husband, and we talk every once in a while. But I wanted to know some things of my own because, like I said, she was my best friend. She was a really good friend to me. Was there some odd moments with her? Of course, you know, I guess because, you know, when you're not friends anymore, of course, everybody has their own version of things. She very much, you know, had hers, and I very much had mine. It's not here or there. I don't really want to discuss that part anymore. But what is interesting to me is I always knew her as a very kind person, helpful, strange, a little bit strange, yeah, a little bit out there, but very kind, very loving, very would want to pitch in and help somebody out. I don't know her as the reclusive, don't want to get involved. I mean, yes, she would probably be kind of like, I don't want to get involved type person, but not to the extent if somebody is her friend and they're missing and she wants to help find them. I don't find that she would be reclusive about this. So that part is very mysterious in itself. Yes, she's not a so to the world right now, she is considered the mystery girl, but to me, she is not the mystery girl, because I do know who she is. I do know her character somewhat. I do very much know that I have been on the attacked side from her with things online. Do I feel like she could potentially have did something to Tyler? I don't think so in my mind. Now, could she have been involved? Could she have known like what was going on? very well. She could have very well known like that he was done and he wanted to be left alone and he was going to run off and start a new life. She could have very well knew that. She could maybe just have been catfished. I mean, that's a very, very good possibility that he knew who she was. Maybe he had a crush on her, even though the whole fact that they're saying that he was gay, so that's where it was very confusing. But maybe he had like a crush on her at one time and he took her pictures and he decided to pretend to be a girl, pretend to be her and catfish other people. There's so many variations. I mean, I gotta ask you guys, what do you think about this story? Do you think that it's suspicious that the mystery girl blocked Explore with Us and refused to answer any questions? Do you find that that was very strange? Do you find that it's normal, like, don't want to get involved, you know, not my circus, not my monkeys? Do you feel like that is more so like your personality, like something's going on and you don't want to be involved? Like, leave me out of it. Do you find that the chai tea, so this girl, she very much is a very avid tea drinker. That was one of the things I always noticed about her, was she did like coffee and tea. She had always like weird tea things at her house when I would go there, and I do not drink tea or coffee, so to me they are weird. If you drink tea and coffee, cool, you're cool, it's cool. I'm just not one of those people that like that kind of stuff. It stinks and it's gross to me. But oh, actually coffee smells good when it's brewing, don't get me wrong. I can relate there. That's as far as you're getting from me. But she is an avid tea and coffee drinker. So do you find that Explore with Us in their finding of the tea and the mystery girl and the fact that she drinks a lot of it, and that Tyler said the last time he was logged in that he was drinking tea, do you find that any of this is weird? Do you feel like she was running that page where her picture was at and she was like drinking tea? Do you think that was her? Do you think that it was Tyler and he was drinking tea? So these are questions that I want to ask you guys. I want you guys, if you know any information about this case, if you happen to know where Tyler is, if Tyler happens to be watching this, I just want to let him know that there's a lot of people that care about him and want to know that he is safe. If you do have information on this case, or you know the whereabouts of Tyler, please contact, and I will put the number up, or down below I will put the number that you can contact to let somebody know, you know, like, hey, I know something. If you are the mystery girl, I would suggest like talking with Explore with Us, letting them know what you know and helping them dig deeper into this case so that they can find maybe Tyler somewhere. I know they've searched the area lots of times. Explore with Us has searched the area lots of times and they have not found anything. So if you, as the mystery girl, have any information and you can help with this, please contact them and just answer their questions. I'm sure they would really like that. They have reopened the case from what I have seen on the Finding Tyler page, and they are redoing all of the lie detector tests. Is something that I have just ran across. I will also put some links down below that goes to the Explore with Us page, and please check them out. They have a really great page and I really enjoyed watching their video. My lips are so dry. I will put his Facebook page down. It's so crazy doing this story because when I go to his page, we have a lot of mutual friends. I don't know if I had ever met him before. He did graduate from my high school. We have a lot of friends in common. I will be sharing this as well on my Facebook page, and anywhere and everywhere in all of my social media, because I want to get it out there, because if he's out there somewhere praying alive, we want to bring him home. I know his sister, she had wrote the Explorer with us that at this point she needed to have closure. And with her passing, I'm sure the rest of the family would like to have closure as well. Some of the things that the sister has said with the father, we only know things as speculation, and as people we tend to have our brains, you know, kind of go in a crazy way, and we speculate. And that is all it is speculation. It is, you know, sleuths trying to get clues to go on, trying to see if somebody has more information than somebody else, or collecting everybody's information into one big stack and looking at it through that. I chose not to say her name because I just chose not to say her name. Her husband did give me permission to put his picture up. Her picture was already on other videos and things, so I will just be using those. And then I will also be using ones that I own myself because I took the pictures. And so, yeah, if you have any information, please, please, please talk to somebody. Call the police department. Get a hold of Explore With Us. Great people. They will get the information where it needs to go. But for now, y'all know it's time for me to go. You guys have a great day. I have missed you guys tremendously. I'm happy to be sitting. See how my baby plans? I'm happy to be sitting in my new room. Yeah, so the ceiling's done and it's fixed, and the roof is fixed, and the floor is not fixed yet. It will be. But the walls and the trim and the ceiling and the roof is done. My daughter's room is almost done. Like, all the walls are up, the ceiling's up. It's all the holes are filled in and stuff. We just got to paint it. And then, of course, we're putting new flooring in because this one from the water damage cracked all of my tile in a lot of places. So we have to put new flooring in. But I'm happy to have my own space. So I am no longer, as you see, my makeup room is no longer in my bedroom. It is now in its own space with my plants and my babies and the dressers that I made. And I made, of course, all different sorts of furniture. But it's nice to be in a nice big space. Look at that. I got a new chair. Did you notice the new chair? So it's nice. I will be back to doing videos now. Please give me a thumbs up. Support your girl. Like the video. If you are new here, subscribe to my channel. If there's cases that you would like me to do, get more eyes on, please, please, please go to my About Me and find my email and write me. I would be happy to do that. But this page I really want to dedicate to finding missing people. To talk about murders and mysteries, of course, because I think that the victims need a voice and people need to hear more so of the victim and less of the criminals. But I really like to do these type of videos. I am really a true crime junkie, and I like to do makeup, so I can do two of my favorite things at once. But for now, I'm gonna go. I have missed you guys, and thank you for sitting through this. Y'all have a good day. Bye, guys.